Hi, guys. Oh, today's guest is someone who sits at the intersection of science, entrepreneurship, and a deep commitment to improving how we think about our health and longevity. I love it so much. Dr. Mari Mitrani is a physician's scientist, an entrepreneur, and leader in regenerative medicine with a career focused on stem cells, genetics, and innovative approaches to improving quality of life. She has co founded multiple biotech companies, served as chief science officer of organic cell regenerative medicine, and played a key role in advancing FDA approved clinical trials exploring new therapies for conditions ranging from COVID-19 to chronic disease. But beyond the science, Dr. Mari brings a powerful perspective as an immigrant woman of color and entrepreneur, someone who has built, failed, learned, and continued to evolve in the pursuit of something bigger. I am so excited to have you here, Mari. Welcome to the show.
No, thank you, Carrie, for having me. And thank you for the introduction. That's beautiful to hear. I'm always like at all, like, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, yep, true. Yep, that's
I
good.
know. I was saying this to another guest. I said I think the worst part of going on a podcast is when you're the guest is sitting through the long introduction where it's like yeah, that's me. I'm a badass, but also like oh my god, this is so uncomfortable. Like somebody's just like talking nice about me for a few minutes, and I have to just sit here and be quiet. Like that is, I
As
think, sort
women.
of torturous.
But when male hear that, they're like, yeah, of
They're just
course.
puffing
Like,
up.
but us women, like, we're like, we don't need to feel like that. No, hell no. But we've worked really hard to accomplish all of that. So proud.
It's so amazing all that you have done. I am so excited to like dive into all the details and learn just more about you and let our listeners learn more about all of the work that you're doing. It's so important. But before we do that, every guest I like to start with who you were growing up. What was younger Mari like before we get into all that juicy detail of all the stuff you've accomplished?
Yeah, you know what? I think that if you get to meet me, and for the friends that I hang out with, and I'm still that kid at heart. I'm still the bubbly. I'm the one first dancing in every dance floor. I'm the one singing out loud, with good boys or bad boys, doesn't matter. Like, I'm a kid at heart. I've cultivated that ability to always remain like I want to learn more. I get excited about rainbows and the colors of the water in the ocean and the animals. So growing up, I'm so fortunate that I was raised in this such a loving house where I was supported in mind, body, and spirit. I was meditated when I was 5. I've been, we were vegetarian because the vegan word didn't exist back then, but we were green and vegetarian before those terms even meant something. And my father is a physician, really worried about preventative, functional, integrative medicine. Like that is what he has practiced for over 45 years. And that's what raised me, right? A mother that's so loving and great at cooking. Very, very heavy on the nutrition, but only also in the delicious part. And I guess I was born with that. I want to explore the world, and there is no limits. And I was supported not only for my parents, for my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, and I'm from Ecuador. So we are big families, and these are the families that we meet each other every Sunday for lunch,
Wow,
right? It's like every single Sunday. So in the
that's
US, it's
amazing.
like, what does that even look like? And for us, it's like, how can you not do this, right? So now coming back, being an adult and raising my daughter here in the US in this little silos that we don't have that. I'm like, wow, I did not know that I have like a net of like probably 45, 50 people that if I ever fall, I know my family's holding me. And I'm so fortunate that that is, and probably that's what makes me so confident and like, I don't care, I'm gonna just go. It's just that strength from the family that is always there pushing with me.
I love it that you have such a strong family background, but also just when you're talking about your father and the way that while he was still a doctor, was also caring so much about preventative. Because I think in the States specifically, we kind of skip to like shove some medicine on it and fix it, as opposed to eat this better thing and nurture your body and prevent that thing from happening that you're going to need medicine for. So I love that it was like ingrained in your mind and in your body and in your spirit, like from the very beginning. I love that so much.
Yeah, I think medicine that's being taught all over the world is this reactive medicine, and it's finally catching up. I have so many incredible physician friends that are practicing this new preventative medicine, integrative medicine, lifestyle medicine, functional medicine. There are all these new words where those both worlds are colliding because it's 2026. There's so much advancement in science and medicine, and also we are learning scientifically the advances of all the alternative medicines that can be integrated. That is not, you don't have to pick one or the other. We live in a beautiful time where both of those medicines can collide, and it's just, how do we improve the quality of life of people?
Yeah. You've spoken about your journey as an immigrant woman of color building a career in science and business. How did that shape the way that you see opportunity? And what was the hardest part about that path early on? And I have a second part to that question.
I mean, the point of view, I think it is one of the most unique things that I don't think we teach enough. When there is a table of usually males, right, deciding for the bigger things, right, not having a different point of view does not paint the whole picture, right? So just being a woman brings a different perspective to the conversation, different things that they have not thought about, right? Being a woman of color, Native American, a Latina, brings a different perspective of the point of view of things that even if a woman was on the table, she would have not seen the immigrant population in that
Hmm.
table. And now with AI, it's so fascinating how we can integrate those those things so it does not, we don't teach the software only seeing that, but seeing the whole perspective, right? So I think that
Hmm.
we have a responsibility as leaders in the space. So many people are building softwares to always think about the minorities. How would this learning curves will allow to there be it, like if we don't think about who we're discriminated, we are discriminating, period.
Yeah.
Right? So
Were there moments where you felt like you had to prove yourself more than others? And how did that shape how you showed up?
every day, being a woman,
Hmm.
you have to work 3 times harder, show up looking 10 times better, and measuring the words that are coming out of your mouth. Your social media should not be this or that. When we are such beautiful entities of diversity. So I don't know if it's perimenopause and just like this estrogen and progesterone lifting up. I don't give an F anymore. I am my most authentic self, and I'm
Hmm.
showing it in all of the ways because, and I was telling this to an investor a couple of weeks ago because he asked me that question. He said, isn't it uncomfortable to navigate the investor world in your skin, in the way you are and the way you look? And
Bold.
and he really meant, and he's like, I'm French. I'm gonna ask the question. And I'm like, you know what? Society did not design it for me.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna tell you how I show up. I
Hmm.
show up with a little tiny bikini, paddleboarding at sunset, doing my headstands. That's how I show up. Because whatever I do, whatever I say, the system is not designed to take what I have. And
Yep.
F that.
Yeah.
I mean, that monologue from the Barbie movie that Ferrera, what is her name? Just blank.
Oh, yes, Gretchen. Oh gosh, I'm spacing it. I'm gonna kick
But
myself.
the Latina that played the supporting role, right? That she said that this monologue, where is it? I'm tired of seeing every woman just going nuts for, is it, am I too much? Am I too little? Am I too skinny? Am I too fat? Am I too well
Hmm.
put? I'm not too put together. Like when we are just trying to hold emotionally our entire family, right? Like it's so many things that we have to hold on, but society still not made for us. So you know what, girls, if you need anybody a doctor's slip, an excuse, go and just do you, boo, because it's never going to be mold for us.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think all of the women in the INTS universe are in their zero F's given space, right? Because it once you get to, I don't know if it's necessarily a specific age, but once you get past a certain space in your life, you realize, just like you said, it's irrelevant if you showed up in your bikini or in a full, wetsuit, as a metaphor for life. It is irrelevant because regardless, you're going to have to, the way you speak, the way you look, the way you, whether you wear makeup or not, like literally women that wear makeup in corporate get paid more. It's a fact. They did a study on it. I mean, it's crazy. Sounds crazy, but it's real. And you have to perform outstanding, like above and beyond your peers. So it's like
Above and
once
beyond.
you figure that out, you kind of go into this era of like, well, screw it. Like, why wouldn't I just do whatever I want? Because it doesn't matter because you're going to hold whatever against me anyway. So I might as well be living my
Anyway.
full authentic self and be really living in who I really am and what I really want to do and what I really care about. Um, you built your career around regenerative medicine, genetics, longevity. What drew you into that world, and what fascinated you most in the beginning that made you go, I think I want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the very beginning, right? Just watching my father approach medicine in a complete different way. He was called a quack when, like doctors could not understand what microbiome was, and today is like the hottest word. But he was talking about microbiome optimization 45 years ago. He was too early in the age. He's doing megadose of vitamins for like the longest time. And now it's like that people come into your houses in little bands, right? Like so I grew up with a father that really saw medicine, saw humans as first and foremost as one universe that you got to take care of, one, right? Not by subspecialty, not like I only have eyes, I only have teeth, I only have a liver, I only have a heart. No, I am one. So I think that's what drew me into, obviously, to see any specialty as in a different perspective. I still, I'm an MD, fully trained like everybody else, the way that they train us. It is a reactive medicine that we are trained on, and it has its beauties and advancements, and it is so important. But I never thought that I was going to end up in regenerative medicine in the way that I ended up, being a scientist. I thought I was going to be a clinician. I thought I was going to see patients, but that's the beauty of life. It just throws you curveballs, and you have to be bold enough to know, hey, this looks really interesting. Like, why wouldn't I do this? Me and my husband were working on an anti-aging devices and had like a big network of physicians that were working with this type of devices. And a group of doctors approached us with protocols of stem cells and said, why don't we use your all of this network that you have, our protocols, and my father's facility, and just open up something in Ecuador 20 years ago, where it was medical tourism, didn't exist. So we kind of created it. And it really was, Carrie. I I was blown away with the results. It's like we were watching miracles happen, and I was like, but then they kept happening. So paraplegic patients, Parkinson's patients, stroke patients, orthopedic patients with pain, kids, adults. Like it was just like I got to a point where I was like, okay, we're into something that I don't think a lot of people understand where what we stepped into. And
Hmm.
I feel a responsibility to ensure that this is taken to the highest scientific level. And I, I am Ecuadorian. I love that we started in Ecuador, but I was like, we got to go back to the US. Let's make this super formal. I want to make sure that I put my name behind something that is backed up by the highest science. If I have to work with universities, FDA, I will do it. And I just like that's what I did. Like I did not stop until brought our company public. So it's a biotech public company, continues to be. I've exited out of that, but it's still like everything that I was able to secure and do and work. um Not too many people have been able to do that, and
Yeah.
I have not met anybody else actually, as a female, holding the science and the medical standards to such a high point. I remember meeting an old gentleman that in his introduction, he presented himself as like, I was able to secure one IND with FDA. And IND is the new drug, a new drug discovery. You go to FDA to ask for this new drug pathway. And I was like, well, I secured five, with my cute little puppy eyes and the smile that I always carry. So yeah, it's very interesting to. I didn't know what I was doing, as entrepreneurs, we never know, but the grit is there, the hard work is there. I was able to secure a team that was able to perform to the highest level when time had to be like, we gotta answer back to FDA in 3 days, and we're like, ah, everybody in, because the commitment that I created with my team, it was not they're working for me, is like, guys, we're all working together, this is one goal. So I'm a Cancer, and maybe that's what it is. I'm super nourishing. I'm a mama bear. And the way that I create my teams are like that. It's like
Hmm.
I care for everybody the way that I care for my family. And it's very interesting because going through the process, and then when investors come in, they see the world in a different way, right? Like, these are BC people. They were like, there's certain protocols and things like that, and you don't care for people. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't care for your team? Your team is the most important.
Right.
And
I think some
it's
people
like,
get so like they get so into like the business of whatever they're working on or the company or it's so methodical and it's so generic and sterile. It's not about like these are actual people. They have actual families. They have actual feelings. I also love I really love how you look at again not just the treating something, you're looking at like how do we apply this scientific concept to this issue so that it doesn't happen, so that we're not just treating it, we're actually preventing it from happening. And what a concept. Like, isn't that really what we should have our doctors doing? Like, shouldn't, and I also think it's so wild that in the West or in the States specifically, we have such a I don't know how I want to state this correctly, but we are so almost allergic to the idea of East and Western concepts marrying together to provide a full idea for a patient or for people in general. Like, why can't we be looking at the natural remedies? Why can't we be looking at all of those other things that are going to make our lives better, in addition to, well, I do have this illness and so now I also need this medicine. Like I never understood why that was so separate, and why, it was so hard for the West or the States to like marry those together, and not, like you said, your dad was like considered a quack in the beginning because he folded all of that in together, and it's like that's really how we all should be looking at it. But there are so many doctors, as someone that's been through the ringer, medically, there are so many doctors that don't look at things like that, and it's really a shame, I think, for patients. Really are hoping, like most patients are like, tell me what to do on the front end, or what I have been doing that I can remove or change so that it makes it better on the back end. Like I find, I love that about your approach when you're looking at these issues and trying to solve them scientifically.
Yeah, and again, I am surrounded by physicians that are changing their ways. So I do think that there is light at the end of the tunnel where both are merging. I mean, yesterday I was with my and they're all women. I love my women. I surround myself with empowered and powerful women. Um, one of them is an REI, that's reproductive endocrine infertility. So they're the ones seeing infertility, right? And she has in her practice, I mean, she is double BART certified. That side of the medicine, but she brings acupuncturists and massage therapists and sound healing for those patients too.
I love
Like,
it. Why not?
yes, yes, we can do this. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can analyze this. And just talking about nutrition, like the pillars of lifestyle medicine, right? Like nutrition, and you got to move your body in any way and shape form that you individually like to move your body. That does not mean that you require a gym membership, right? Those are the things that are important. Are you hydrating with H2O only, not the added things, right?
Yeah.
80% of your plate has to be whole foods, whole plants. So those are not wild statements. It's very backed by science, and it holds true for both medicines.
Mhm. I love that too, what you're talking about, because like, especially for like us Gen Xers, we grew up with the food pyramid, which is a total joke now, right? And just wildly inaccurate. And also, I suppose that could be argued, but also just the differences of what women need versus what men need, and how, so many women have just kind of gone along, because that's what we were told, like, oh, this is what you do. And now we're figuring out, oh, well, actually, women need this, especially later in life, and it's dramatically different than what men need. And I think just having doctors and physicians and scientists open to like, hey, that's something we need to address and help people with is such a big deal. And I love it that we're kind of moving past the just like, here's the medicine and here's the one way to do it, and here, there's a lot of really amazing things that we've now figured out are helping us. A lot of what you work on, stem cells, regenerative therapies, all of that, exosomes, all of that can feel really overwhelming to people, or they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. If you had to explain what you do in the simplest possible way, how would you describe it? And what does that mean or look like for somebody in their everyday life?
Yeah, so what draw me into this industry is that if you provide your body with the correct messaging, your body has its own ability to regenerate itself almost to the fullest. So that means that it really doesn't matter what I do as a physician with my ego, many physicians with their egos, but if I put in you a correct information, it can be nutrition is information, right? Hydration is information, movement is information. But this is harnessing the ability of holding the purest, truest message and delivering to you. Your body is the one that regenerates. So, what does that mean? Us adults, from the moment we're born, we have lots of stem cells in our body in different parts of our tissues, hold stem cells, right? Also in the placenta, we call it the perinatal tissue, the tissue that surrounds the baby. There's a lot of stem cells there. So No embryonic cells, no fetuses, nobody's killing babies, which is a big misconception, right? So this is a tissue for donation. The same as when you go and donate blood or you donate your organs, like after you're dead, right? Like these are concepts that we understand as a society, right? So this is the same. At the moment of birth, usually perinatal tissue or the placental tissue is discarded. And instead of being discarded, us scientists have been able to secure it. Make sure first through FDA and the American Tissue Bank, like there are rules of who can donate and if you are allowed to donate because mama and baby are healthy, mama is clean, there's no communicable diseases, and everything has been tested. These tissues are very valid for donation. So what we do is bring it to the laboratory. We look at those cells, specific cells, we grow those cells, analyze them. We are only manufacturing in very clean environments under FDA guidance. And then we're able to bottle this into, like any kind of drug is bottled in little vials. And these are the ones that then make it into today. Florida is fully approved to do stem cell treatments for pain, orthopedic, and wound healing. So imagine how much we've advanced from like, we don't know what stem cells are. I think stem cells is killing babies. I'm interested in stem cells. Stem cells is the future of medicine. To we have the first state that fully approves stem cell treatments inside of the United States. You don't have to go outside of the United States to receive this kind of treatments if they
Mm.
are followed by these things. Manufactured in a correct facility, provided by a licensed physician that are treating either pain, orthopedic, or wound healing. So today, 2026, we've advanced so much in this field of regenerative medicine that it shouldn't be a field where people are afraid of. There's still a lot of, there's no education, right? So
Yeah.
I hope this podcast allows us to educate a little bit more. I'm always open to answer questions, to collaborate with other physicians that are a lot of physicians that are in the field don't even know because they didn't teach us, right?
Hmm.
This is not a field like 20 years ago that I entered this field. There, I couldn't go to a university and learn to be
Hmm.
a stem cell scientist, a physician scientist in stem cells and regenerative medicine, right? So I had to create this field from scratch. And I guess that is what I do best. And my brain thrives best is like, how do I solve this very complicated problem? So
Yeah.
it is very simple, I think. It's very simple in terms of like your body has the ability to regenerate if it's given the correct information.
I mean, I just think it's so interesting. We're just hearing, we hear about like celebrities doing all these wild treatments and all these wild things. And I think for like the everyday man, like we go, oh, they're just wacky celebrities doing, wacky stuff. But I think the reality is they have the money to have access to doctors that maybe know, more than what the general public knows, and or are trying experimental things that they believe are helping us move forward. And so when you have access to a lot of cash, you can, try some new things. And so I think it's really interesting that you're doing this work. Like you hear the I won't name any names, but you hear people, eating their placenta after the baby's born. And I just think this is it's so interesting. I mean, I think it's really interesting for us to be studying this and to be understanding like and just like you said, it's not about the baby. It's not about an embryo. It's not about that. It's about the placenta. Like it's not, there's so many misconceptions like wrapped all around it.
Yeah, so many, and yeah, we're not eating the placentas here. No, no, this is definitely not. It's we are procuring placentas in the OR after everything has been ticked off as a correct donor, and you know, for whatever there is for people that are going to eat placentas, we have our digestive juices. Our digestive juices will be cutting everything up as any food would do, right? So it's just like you're just eating protein, lots of protein. And We can get it from other sources. Let's just leave it to that.
we won't go down the everybody's eating their placentas conversation today, but it's very
No.
interesting to talk about it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you love this conversation as much as I did. And we're not done yet. This continues in part 2, so make sure you come back and join us there. That's a wrap on today's episode of Carrie, It's Not That Serious. If this conversation resonated, subscribe and share it with a WIP, a woman in power in your life. You can find more conversations, more community, and all the fun INTS merch you love at itsnotthatserious.com. We're building something meaningful here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it. Until next time, remember, it's not that serious.